put it in terms of historical concept where certain decisions were made, and I'm not making excuses for them, because as a matter of fact, I have never voted in my entire life, and I would never do it for anybody ever, here or anywhere else. But, you know, when you put it in historical concept, once he became president, you know, he did some wonderful things for America, such as, again, going back to the idea of national banks, and to the physical economy, which actually gave growth to the United States, which has been destroyed right now, not only in the United States, but everywhere else, which is one of the reasons why society is in such a bad state as it is. And of course, Roosevelt was, you know, behind the all the information with as far as Pearl Harbor is concerned. So again, there's no denying that, you know, the man is you know, he's not a saint. But again, you have to put, I think we have to put all that in political context. You know, you have to navigate some pretty treacherous water. You know, and there are certain things you have to do which you certainly don't agree with, and there are certain other things you could do. And I think he did enough good things to be warranted a great president. And another great president, you could also say Kennedy, but, you know, he certainly didn't live long enough, you know, to warrant this.
Za njega vjerujem da bi veliki predsjednik, recimo zato jer je ubijen, pa eto, tako bi se recimo postupalo s nekim ko ne pleše u taktu. Kad smo već kod američkih predsjednika, postoji nešto što se zove Loganov zakon. Taj Loganov zakon ima velike veze s američkim sudjelovanjem na sastancima grupe Bilderberg. Objasnite nam kakav je to zakon i tko ga i kako krši.
Yeah, you know, you're absolutely right. Your previous comment, Kennedy was a great man. Unfortunately, he wasn't there long enough, you know. And as far as Logan Act is concerned, basically what it says is that it's illegal for American businessmen to meet in private with politicians to discuss public policy. And this is exactly what Bilderbergers, you know, all the Bilderberger businessmen have been doing since, you know, 1954. But flaunting a Logan Act, again, putting it in context, it's really not that important because, you know, politicians do illegal things all the time. And I wish it was only, you know, as bad as somebody trying to make a little bit of money on the side. Unfortunately, it's a far, you know, greater evil. But that said, very few people who attend Bilderberg actually understand what's behind their final objectives. In other words, just because, you know, someone is invited to a Bilderberg conference doesn't mean that they understand what the final objectives are. These objectives are not revealed to anybody. These are very powerful groups of people who've been meeting for many, many, many years. And again, it's just a medium of bringing all these interests together. But it's a very dynamic system. You know, it changes with the times. It absorbs and you know, new parts while it excretes, you know, the remaining of old, you know, dead, decrepit companies like Arthur Andersen or Enron. You know, members come and go, but the system, it doesn't change. It's a self-perpetuating system, a virtual spider web of financial, political, military, and industrial, you know, interests with a Venetian ultramontane model at the center. But again, out of all these people who attend, most of them only know that they're breaking the law by attending because of the Logan Act. They don't understand that there's a, you know, objective of destroying, you know, the world as we understand the world, you know, for good of a very small group of people. That, I think, is also, you know, in fairness to most of these people.
Je li točno da svoje mandate predsjednici nekih najvećih zemalja svijeta dobivaju upravo na sastancima grupe Bilderberg? I ako da, kako je to bilo s nekim od aktualnih vodećih ljudi u svijetu?
Well, I think you know, the most telling example is Bill Clinton, who attended back in 1991. I should mention that sitting presidents, meaning presidents who are in office, never attend Bilderberg simply because every second of their time is accounted for. But, you know, they're represented by others in the government. And the people who attend Bilderberger meetings, they don't attend as individuals. They attend as representatives of a government or some organization. As far as Clinton, he came in 1991, and David Rockefeller took him aside, and he asked him, you know, how he felt about NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, which was signed on October 3rd, 1987 in Washington. And Clinton had, at the time, he was just a lowly governor of Arkansas, and he was making $35,000 a year, which, compared to what David Rockefeller makes a year, makes you wonder what was he doing there.
Možda ima mali fuš u švercanju droge, ali to je druga priča.
Well, he did, but that's not why he attended Bilderberg. It's David Rockefeller said to him, do you know what NAFTA is? And Clinton said, well, no, I have no idea. So Rockefeller sat him down, and he gave him a master class on what North American Free Trade Agreement was. And then he asked him, if you were president, would you support it? And he said, well, is it important to you, David? And Rockefeller said, it's very, very important to me. And Clinton said, well, of course. And so Rockefeller stretched his arm and said, thank you, Mr. President. It's a story. It's a funny story, and it's almost an anecdote. But the fact is that next year, the following year, 1992, he was elected president. And another example is Barack Obama. He attended in 2008 along with Hillary Clinton. That famous episode where, the reporters were on the airplane and suddenly Barack Obama wasn't there. He just kind of disappeared, and then he appeared at the Bilderberg conference in Chantilly. And at that meeting, the American delegates told Barack Obama, and again, I know this because our members, who are inside Bilderberg have told us this. And for those who are doubting what I'm saying right now, again, if you look on the internet, my prediction is going back years and years. My batting average is almost 100%. And so American delegates told Barack Obama that, the presidency was his to lose. In other words, you play by, do what you're supposed to, say the right things, smile the right time, and, you win the presidency. And they also told Hillary Clinton to stay out of his way. Because, the initial plan of Hillary Clinton was to take over the the Democratic nomination at the Democratic National Convention. And they basically warned her not to even think about it. And so when, after the Democratic National Convention, so many Hillary Clinton supporters were so disappointed because they absolutely were sure that she was going to try to, take it away from him. But she couldn't because there was just, the Bilderbergers have too much dirt on Hillary Clinton.
Koji su europski predsjednici dobili svoje poslove na sastancima grupe Bilderberg?
Well, it's not such a clear-cut case as in the case of Bill Clinton or Barack Obama. Tony Blair attended, and then several years later he became Prime Minister of England, and Jose Socrates from Portugal attended, and then a year and a half later became, the leader of Portugal. But
Angela Merkel.
That's true. The case with Merkel is different in a sense that, as a matter of fact, I was it was published in Nexus magazine, and I was the only person in the world. There's that famous photograph of Chancellor Gerhard Schroeder entering the Bilderberg conference in Rotterdam in Germany in 2005, which I took from about a kilometer away with a very long lens, and he's shaking hands with Jürgen Schrempp, the CEO of Daimler Chrysler. And then there's another photograph where Merkel is coming in as well. But in the case of Merkel, it was just simply a decision where they felt that not that she made a great impression or anything like that. They just felt that Schroeder was all used up, and they just needed a change. And they all decided to get their people to promote Merkel. And they at the meeting they were talking about how to get her very boring, because she's boring. She's like a rag, and trying to get this rag to actually look, appetizing. And but she didn't earn it. In the case of Clinton earned it. Barack Obama did his thing, and I think the best case of somebody earning it and not getting it, but it's not because of Bilderberg, because it just they just couldn't do it, is a case of John Edwards, who was the vice presidential candidate on the Democratic ticket with John Kerry. In 2004, he attended the Bilderberg conference in Stresa in Italy, and he gave an absolutely brilliant talk on the state of the labor unions in the United States. And Bilderbergers, they were so impressed with his eloquence that breaking, protocol, which is a very important thing to Bilderberg, they all got up and they all, clapped, in recognition of his great speech. And then Henry Kissinger literally, walked out of the room, picked up the telephone, his cell phone, and